But welcome. Real joy to be here celebrating the almost release of Interwoven, which you all know lots about, no doubt. I recognise a few of these faces from years past, so thank you for coming back, trusting us with your words again. And to people who are just meeting us for the first time, hello and welcome. So first off, you might recognise my name. We've been in touch about edits and typesetting and that kind of thing. My name's Will. I'm the publisher here. Renard Press, I think, is a very cool almost startup at this point. We've just turned 5 years old, and we've realized we've now done 5 poetry anthologies, 1 a year, and I think they've been a really exciting platform where people who don't necessarily feel that their voices have been heard get to raise them together, and I couldn't be more proud of them. So thank you for being part of it. So there we go. I'm going to introduce Tom and Miriam, 2 of our judges who are here this evening. I think they'd like to say a quick hello before we get going. We are going to be joined by Suman a bit later, but first, alphabetically, Tom, do you want to say hello?
Hi all, delighted to see you. Yeah, it was a real pleasure and an honour to judge poems again this year. I just want to say I think everyone, particularly this year, I felt like responded particularly well to the theme. There was a really good range as well, which is a nice when the range is large and that is still linked to the theme. So I particularly enjoyed everyone's work. I'm just very looking forward to hearing you read your poems. It's nothing like hearing a poet read it themselves, because I'm probably reading it wrong in my head, right? So I look forward to it.
Thanks, Tom. And Miriam, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's just wonderful to be here again. It's one of my favourite nights of the year. And I'm the same as Tom. I love hearing you all read your poems. I enjoyed very much reading them all and being a judge again this year, my 5th year running, eyes crossing here. And I just love the fact that you're from all over the world. I find it so exciting. So looking forward to hearing you all and meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you. Now, without further ado, if I did see your name in the list there, Alison, did you want to open the floor and read us your Etchingham Brass?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. It's an honour to be in the anthology again. So my poem is inspired by a unusual brass on the floor of a church in Etchingham in Sussex. It's unusual because it features 2 women who are not related to each other, so they are interwoven in some way, but it's a mystery as to why. It's called An Etchingham Brass. They could pass as mother and child, palms pressed in matching dresses, Elizabeth smaller on the husband's side, loose hair flowing to her waist, Agnes coiffed on the right. Latin tells of 2 fathers whose beloved daughters, born within a year, died 30 years apart. Nothing tells why their brothers commissioned this brass in a side-aisle floor, where for half a millennium the women turn uncovered heads and gaze at one another. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to hear it in your words. A big thing to open the floor. Thank you very much. So next, I thought we might invite back another familiar face, Raina Fonso. I've got a feeling you might be joining us from Trinidad. I see your name in the list, but I can't sort of unmute you. If you're there, I'd love to hear you read.
Hi, how is everyone?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, it's great to see you all again. I'm really honored to be in the anthology again. So I am joining again from Trinidad, and my poem is titled Auntie's Garden Was a Borderless Nation. I recently, in the last year, have started working in diplomacy and Caribbean diplomacy, and I've been thinking a lot on the nation states and refugees and just how really interwoven we all are. And when I saw the call, I knew I had to submit something. So here is Auntie's Garden Was a Borderless Nation. Auntie only crossed the sea once, centuries ago, in another woman's skin. A woman long forgotten by all but her hands that till the soil this garden grows upon. Auntie holds no passport, has never licked a stamp. but in her garden she has planted flags: peas, cassava, basil, ginger, fevergrass. Auntie will not build a fence. Even the pothounds are welcome to sleep beneath the pomerac trees, to eat the scraps she throws from his steps. Auntie's neighbors come dead or alive, carrying baskets of mint and rosemary and lime, and they boil the treaty in silence, sign it with their lips around enamel mugs. Auntie taught us how to govern, with dirt beneath our fingernails, with the will to name each living thing before the world could reclaim it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for reading.
Beautiful.
Okay, I thought we'd now call on another familiar face, Jawiria Mohammed. If you're there, I'd love to hear you.
Fucking Hi everyone. It's so wonderful being here and hearing the two poems before me. They were just stunning. So thank you for sharing. My poem is titled A Blue Jay's Eulogy. In the very corner of the concrete patio, between hanging petunia baskets, between a burst of violet and pink, lies a still blue jay, its crested tail pressed flat, covered by the shade of petals and plump tomatoes. Almost as if it limped to the secluded canopy, tucked its head in the crook of its feathered neck, and lay down to die. Almost as if it knew my eyes would find its glinting. Oh, sorry. It's glinting. I'm so sorry. I'm reading the wrong version. I apologize. 1 minute. I'm gonna just start 1 minute again. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Okay, I'll start over. In the very corner of the concrete patio, between hanging petunia baskets, between a burst of violet and pink, lies a still blue jay, its crested tail pressed flat, covered by a shade of petals and plump tomatoes, almost as if it limped to the secluded canopy, tucked its head in the crook of its feathered neck, and lay down to die. Almost as if it knew my eyes would find its glinting sapphire while searching for a muse, for ways to be fuller, directions on how to drench every space with exuberant light, to be larger than life. And instead of composing about the vastness of the sky, the way it stretches for years, a blinding blue insisting to be seen, I would be moved to write about this bird, the rich cerulean of its delicate wings, seemingly saying you could live a humble life, quiet and ordinary, simply flying to and from your nest of moss and mud, searching for fruit, for fledglings, and you could continue chirping soft morning songs, ones only old oaks can hear, not needing to create nor compete with the spectacle of blazing sunsets. And your life would still be beautiful, meaningful even. Someone would still hold their breath at your withering. It would be enough to have lived. It would be enough. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So sweeping straight on, I had hoped that Daphne might be here to read this evening. There are a couple of people who have, I think, not got a name. So Daphne, if you're there, please jump in. If not, perhaps later. I'm going to take that silence to mean we might need to come back to you. In which case, Abby Doll, if you're there, I'd love to hear your piece.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. All right, my piece is entitled Go On and Roll the Windows Down. The warmth of a joint passing through, the soothe of a buzz pulsing beneath, like the goosebumps you get when the sirens start to sing, the allure of their vocal velvet calling you by name until you start to swim in the sweet, sweet joy of serendipity. Something spurs this feeling that existence is custom tailored, not some arbitrary iteration, the evidence of which gets you grinning like a top-notch reflex, contemplating the magical mystical at play, that knee-jerk disbelief that follows the tiniest instant saddled with the audacity to feel like yours, a moment gone right, curated even, amidst a world so vastly wrong, so full, so tragic and grim reaper grim. This whole place is just one miraculous mess. So what if you gotta Google the meaning of joy like some inquisitive robot? So long as your spirit continues to chant, I just can't get enough, I just can't get enough, in that synth pop Depeche Mode fashion, amidst all this guaranteed chaos, and in spite of our non-negotiable suffering, joy and gratitude will still bloom, fueled by the sunshine from every last grin, driven by the commitment of giving in, the pursuit of your name brand authenticity as you appreciate the contentment that comes, like a side of sweet potato fries, perfectly sweet and salty paired with the toasted subtlety of a sesame seed bun in your saggy, greasy bag of fast food takeout, sitting on the lap of someone you love with the windows down and tunes blaring, while you relish the remnants of this unseasonably warm autumnal afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reading. Okay, and I think the last one in this sort of batch before we hand over to you, Tom, if you're there, Abraham, would love to hear your piece. Now do more than 200 ghosts.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to send my special regards to we, the Leonards, and the judges. Thank you so much for organizing such a wonderful event. So without wasting much time, I'll go straight to the point, to the poem. The title of my poem is How Do You Mourn 200 Ghosts in One Poem? I wrote this poem as a form of, as a poet, you have to hold the government accountable for anything going on in the country. So it was my own way of expressing my anger and pain for the genocide going on in Nigeria. So I'll go straight to the poem. Tell me, how do you mourn 200 ghosts in one poem? Do you name them one by one, like children, whispering each name in your palm so the sound does not slip away? Do you build a line long enough to carry their bodies home, or a stanza wide enough to bury them beneath the prayer? I tried to trade them into a single verse, but the blood kept smudging the paper. Their names filled my mouth like gravel I could not swallow. The water burns beneath my tongue. Its smoke curls up the spine of this poem like incense with no altar, no priest, only silence prickled by mothers, counting heads and finding none. One child fell with bread still in his fingers. Another went down while running. Feet crawled with the urgency of flight. A woman collapsed. Unborn child still arguing for a future inside her. I cannot fit 200 ghosts in one poem, in one room. This poem is too small, not for the charred hearts, not for the crimson fields, not for the ache that teaches your bone to tremble before your heart even knows grief. So I will give each ghost one breath, if not a name. I am offering this poem as a loose mat on the floor, frayed but open, and I hope you sit with me long enough for anyone to remember it. Because really, it's not a poem at all. It's a vigil, and we are all learning how to mourn in the dark. Thank you so much.
It feels a bit callous to jump in at the end of that. Thank you so much for reading. Incredible poems. We do need to continue with the evening, so we will continue to sit with this anon. But for now, Tom, might I call on you to introduce, for those who don't know, although we have a runner-up and a winner, each year the judges like to just mention one poem beyond these two that has really spoken to them, they've kept in their mind for a while afterwards. So over to you, Tom.
Thank you. So I just want to say this year, like the one, They were so good that it was very hard to choose between them. But this one I did keep coming back to. It's a really fantastic poem, and it's by Bridget O. James. It's called A 10-Stanza Poem About Peregrinating Between Home and England. And it's really wonderful. It talks about kind of remake of self and selves, and that churn and change and movement, kind of interwoven with conversation and experience all rolled up together. It's just a really wonderful poem that stuck with me a long time, and I just kept coming back to, so I knew I had to give it my mention. So hope Bridget is here today to read it, but if not.
I'm scanning the list. I'm not sure if you are, Bridget. If you are, please jump in.
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. Really nice to meet you, and congratulations. I loved your poem so much.
Oh, thank you so much. No words. I'll be quick because it's quite a long one. Shall I read it, or am I meant to wait? Am I meant to read it now?
Yes, please.
Please.
Okay, thank you very much. A 10-stanza tale about peregrinating between home and England. Dad face-planted all his daughters on the living room linoleum floor because my 16-year-old sister and a Kundayo linked us offering. A daughter is in church, fornicated before her departure date to England. Graduate Amataya took a plane ticket because Amatayas bring the family joy, and only the brightest Creole Galpa kingdom can enter England. Dad prophesied the future, 2025, from behind a lectern on the TV. An English lawmaker announced, will handpick and visa only the brightest male skilled workers. Didn't foreigner, 22-year-old Amataya, to pave the way for me, sneak into the promised land? Underneath a 2-1 honours in botany to clean office toilets in 1992. Or they put the old Amataya through a granulator and labelled it waste, incinerating landfill. They chased a Creole accent back down her gullet with, sorry, could you repeat that please? They branded her language unintelligible pidgin English. Dad chased her. Dad just chased her during a phone call to Freetown. You God's creature, a cab, more. Shed your shells, you'll grow bigger, and your tongue needed a baptism of fire to learn to speak their way. But chatting in our traditional code in a Kansas flat, after Amoteo's meager wages brought me over, we gossiped about the journey to an Easter culture that frowns on their conveyors. The women slagged up on the TV as those single moms who migrate to Second Island to claim state benefits. And Amateo and I lamented over our Cancer and Queen's relationship, like Ekundeos and Gordon Affair with the youth from Sunday school. We miss the remnants of the old us thrown into a furnace. We long for the taste of the way things were. Dad's for today's Abuja. And when the reflection of the ghost of the old me appeared in a glass of Amateo's homemade ginger beer, I used it as a conduit for my homesick self to travel back in my mind to where our old selves once belonged. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reading. And Tom, thank you for that wonderful introduction. So I'm going to lurch straight into our next batch. And I'm wondering, I think I see Catherine Mayer. Might you jump in and introduce us to your towpath?
Yeah, hi. So the towpath is on one level crashingly literal, because I really did fall on the towpath and break my wrist while I was carrying food to my mother during lockdown, when both of us had just been widowed in the pandemic. But it's also, there's a pair of German poems that I really love, which are a sort of dysfunctional love exchange between the poets Else Lasker-Schuler and Gottfried Benn. So it takes something from that. But anyway, the towpath. One moment she flies, the next lies to herself and the path. She will stand, follow angled hand, see it command that she rise. Break time, fracture laws, feet made ice. They too pointing to the bridge, singing, chorus next. Will it end in algal bloom or the spoke beneath?
That wheel once span a story. Life goes on. Who then is lying? The canal channels her grief. Her love died. Locked up and worth less than of old, the aged have no use but to serve as vaccines. Memories inoculate until they sink deep in the mud. A bell sounds, a bicycle. Move, lady. Listen. Hera, I am the towpath that cradles you. Fall. Wheels turn, life cycles faster now, tears in rain, time is water. Angels descending lay their coats, beautiful coats, on tarmac. Oh, but their voices, oh, their song. Kindliness is godliness. She was lost, now is risen. They lift and hold her, not worthless, weightless. Pain flows like life passes, like time. Gentle, lapse, eddies. Listen, Hera, I am the towpath that cradles you. Sweet, my lovely, sleep. Sorry, I didn't mean to cry.
It was beautifully read, and thank you so much for doing so.
Yeah. Beautifully read. Yeah.
So next on my list this evening, again, just to callously move on, I'm so sorry, there's so much love and emotion in everything here. And I'm just, to fit people in, I'm going to have to rush on this evening. But thank you so much for being here and reading them for us. So next this evening, I thought we might move to Barun, if you would like to read your piece out for us.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Will, and good evening, everyone. It's truly an honor to be part of Interwoven and share my pieces with so many wonderful voices from across the world. And my poem, Thread by Thread, was written on reflection on how, despite all our differences in language, culture, and distance, we all are connected by shared emotions, by compassions and joy, the simple act of being human. And I'm very grateful to Renard Price for bringing this collection to life, and all the poets here tonight who reminds us what connectedness truly means. And I would like to share my poem thread by thread. Sorry. Actually, yesterday I got a cold, so that's why. Okay. So just let me put handy here so that I can read it from there. In the harm of a market at dawn, a woman in Kolkata weaves silk of gold as a boy in Lagos sings to the rhythm of fishmongers shouting over hope. A baker in Aleppo kneads creep into bread. A sculptor in Lima chips at stone until a mother's face emerges, not his own. And an elder and Yukon lights shitter for the lost. They have never met, but their hands remember the same act. Their feet, dusted in separate soils, still dance and tune to the same thunder, thread by thread. We are knotted not by accident, by the pulse, by lullaby, by morning, by the stitched quiet after the wear. A girl who cannot speak pens a mural across a cracked wall, a river linking lands without borders, each wave whispering, I see you. The thread stretches from protest chants echoing in Manila to lullabies murmured in Sweater. Our voices rise not in unison but in harmony. We are not a perfect tapestry, frayed in places, scorched in others, but the thread never snaps. Even now, when fires rage and silence drawn, the laughter of children, still the needle moves. Hands reach across the ocean of doubt. A stranger's kindness closes a wound. One poem breathed beneath foreign stars can become shelter. We are not islands, we are not archipelagos, breached by the moon's pool, and the courage to listen. So when the world unravels, pick up the thread, tie it to the palm of another, and begin again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reading some really wonderful poems this evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm going to ask another old friend of Renard, a name I recognise from several of these anthologies, to jump in. Deborah, I think you might have had a couple of internet things, seeing you come and go. But
yes, I don't. You can't see me, I know. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, my camera doesn't seem to be working for some bizarre reason. I've been trying to make it work, which is why I've been coming and going. But thank you.
Not.
Thank
you
you
very
very
interesting whirling thing.
Thank you very much. I'll read you my poem. This was inspired by written for the Palestinian crisis. It's been an ongoing feature of our lives. How fortunate I am that today rain is coating slopes of trees with a thin slick. Watching it descend over the hill, I think of those parched, pitted countries where rain rarely falls, how they need it now to quench fires ignited by hate, nourish a people in despair. The murderous swell of seas it has travelled, sucked up to fall as a blessing. It pulls a blind over high heather-covered moors, sealing in moisture, promising life. Mist columns rise, ghosts of bitten, bomb-blasted towers that will never take the shape of rooms again. Rustle of leaves in a gentle wind, the movement of falling plaster, a trickle of pain which seems too small a word for loss, grief, death. The wind rises, lamenting fields, clouds of sheep scudding in front of it. The only violence here, a squabble of starlings, their sudden panicked flight. As the rain rolls in, long-left sea surges collect unwanted in puddles, ruts, tire treads of tractors, far away from war, its scrabble and fight. Make of me a crazed, cracked pot, shedding water over devastated earth, fissured parchment skin, leaking love, comfort to children who need so much more than a hug, though that would be a start. Arc rainbows over ruined lives, their haunted cries, an unanswered call to prayer.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next on my hit list, it's fellow Southeast Londoner, Kushik, another friend from several anthologies. I think I see that. There we go.
Good evening. Good evening. Delighted to be here. And you're right, it is chilly in Southeast London, even more so when you have no hair, because we're like the groundhog for everybody else. But yeah, when I saw the Interwoven theme, I had to think about it for about 1 second to think of what is it that conjures up for me. And it was the very intense and profound bond of love, even between the human animal and the many other species that we share this planet with. And I did think, first thing, the title came about because rain or shine, and whatever my mood, first thing, there's usually a beautiful little furry snout looking at me, telling me, get up, raise yourself, raise your spirits, man, do better. So this is first thing. Exposed bib, tawny, white soft, How have you managed this? Perfect alignment, eyes almond, wide, narrow. Pilgrimage for the secular, some voyage complete. Not sure how you did this, fur, pattern, those feet. But it's love, all the same. Each time a true blessing. The feeling daily shared 1,000,000,000 times, maybe more. Every particle cherished, otherworldly, in a pore. Love without limit, willing bargain with God. Somehow forbidden to draw the equation, yet spatulate, supple, sovereign. Eyes feline cosmos, and this, in some limited way we know, unstymied, fiercely tribal, just one breath ahead, languid repose, prodigious gifts of balance, nocturne, bloodied whisper. Come morning, almonds impassive, totems displayed without anger. We see you, and you let us. Purr, blink, swag, snore. Sound evolved, spirit too. Nobody's full, and in the box, wait, something for us to attend to. When we look up again, you're gone. Sphinx, part unknowable. Fact, pattern, its own rhythm. Serengeti, Sundarban, in miniature. Beasts of our wild. Pure love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kushik.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a name here that I can't see in the list. If you're there, Razel, please jump in, shout from the hills, or I think the States actually. But presuming you're not here, would love to invite AG to just close out this batch for us. I can see you in the list there. And then we're going to hear from Miriam. And maybe some technical difficulties. As they say, please stand by. In which case, Tim Keeley, might you be available to read your poem for us?
I might be. Thank you very much again, Will, for having me, and thank you to everybody who has read so far. It has been a real balm in at times a very hectic week and world to hear from other people tonight. On the theme of the interior world of poems and other life and how it interacts with the outer world, this poem is Private Conversations in Public. I interrogate the grammar of me and mine, of us and ours, passing kiss after kiss between the early hours of a Sunday morning, the hours that cannot last. In this imaginary nest with real love in it, I interpret. I am interpreted. I can try to be only the interaction of two definitions coming to another understanding. This is my body. This is my beloved body's body. This love cannot be political. This room cannot be entered into by any breath but ours. This bed cannot hold anything but our two starstruck indulgences, our swelling softness, our eyes which cannot hold anything but the eyes that are looking back into ours. This blanket is only enough for us, and barely that at times. No flag could ever be fashioned from it. This love cannot be political. What happens in here cannot go beyond our own size to the noise outside, the sawing over the chimney top, the wind flexing the windows. This love cannot be everyone's. This room cannot be everywhere. This love cannot be political until quite suddenly, it is.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Killer title, that one as well. Okay, without further ado, Miriam, if you're still around, might I call upon you to announce your special mention?
Oh, right. I worked out how to unmute myself. Sorry, because I know you muted us. Lovely. Oh, really enjoying the poems, and you're all from such amazing places. Just makes me want to travel and visit you all. Even South London, don't worry. So, as you know, when you submit your poems, it's anonymous. We have no idea who any of you are. You could be the next door neighbour. We don't know. But the poem that I've chosen for my highly commended is actually by someone I know. It's by Reshma Rua. I can never pronounce your surname, Reshma, so I apologize in advance. But we've met, I've read her novel, and we've been fellow judges in the past. And I've chosen her poem, Hello, William, which gives us a fresh look on William Wordsworth. And it's very, very beautifully written. And I don't want to give out any spoilers, so I'm not going to say what happens in this poem, but I loved all the dialogue. I think it's beautifully recorded, and I think it's part of, along with the scripted language, why we get a fresh look on our beloved William Wordsworth. So could you read it for us, Reshma?
If anyone else is struggling to find the mute button because I've callously muted people, it's just at the bottom of the screen. Wonderful if you are able to read, Reshma. Well, we might need to pop back to you. It'll be worth the wait. Definitely.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Thank you, Miriam, Tom. Well, I mean, it's been such a pleasure to hear all this wonderful poetry so far. You know, such moving images and words. So this poem actually was inspired by a creative writing workshop that I did with some asylum seekers earlier this summer in the lakes, and we spent a few fruitful days at Wordsworth's cottage in the Lake District, Dove Cottage. So this poem is called Hello, William. The lakes were on fire that day. The sun torchlit the pastures where cows and sheep lay, soft blobs of white against the milk blue sky. Squirrels snored beneath gorse hedges, and bees buzzed their song through fields of flowers. Not a whisper of cloud or rain. Summer became a smile, splashed everywhere. A perfect day to walk on paths where once Wordsworth strolled, deep in thought, to play with words, smell the flowers, to be at peace. My name is Abdul, he says. And this, my friend, is Jamil. And that is Laila. And she is... One by one, the refugees climb down from the coach, thin-boned shoulders dressed in polyester t-shirts with fake designer logos. A handshake, a pat on the back. So lovely to meet you. You'll have a good time. And we usher them, all dozen of them, into Wordsworth's cottage in Grasmere. They have bruises everywhere, in their eyes, in their voice. The way they stop and stare at Wordsworth's writing desk, finger his inkpot, stroke his chair. He was a very clever man, is William, says Jamil, the most talkative of all. But when did he find time to write? Was he not always looking for food? Was there no war? Hello, William, they greet the poet, his name
all new and fresh, like a gumdrop in their mouth. Hello, William, they say as they read his poems, their finger tracing the map of his words on long ago pages. But some are quiet. They startle at the roar of passing motorcycle and shield their face when crossing the road. It is only later, much later, when we have walked by the lake, picnicked under the trees, that they open up like William's daffodils. Like William, they walked for miles across forests and hills, mostly at night, stumbling over rocks. Their scars they show of where they fell or were beaten by border guards. We had no time to look, says a soft voice, Lila's. There were fish with silver eyes in the rivers we swam, and fruit the size of moon. But there was no time. We are grateful for new beginnings, for this. The sweep of a hand takes in the hills, the lakes blush pink with the setting sun, the pigeons cooing on rooftops. We have mountains too, and lakes that are blue, and birds that sing love songs. Perhaps the world is not so different after all. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reading. Lovely to see an old friend of Renald here as well.
Yeah.
Okay, without further ado, on to our next in the program. And I'd love to invite you, Christina, to open up this section, if I may.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me to this launch, and I really enjoyed the poems that were read so far. So my poem is inspired by a tarot card, and it's also about reproductive rights. And it's titled Four of Wands. At 28, I learned to carve my weapons of my squishy parts, knuckles wrapped in white as surrender or deceit. In the gym, mirror women, wolves, hungry canines, while the trainer shows us how to slip away like smoke. Choices made in ungodly hours. I practice falling without breaking, my body remembering other losses. The punching bag takes every limb I throw at it. Unlike my womb that knows a thing or two about want, about love, about the weight of decisions measured in weeks, in sterile treatment rooms, now I learn to pivot, to strike, to protect the soft geography of my core, where something grew and then didn't. The other women here know how to read bruises like star charts, how to press ice against flesh that needs to be numbed. We practice escapes from holds we didn't ask for, learn to transform fear into forward motion, into the perfect arc of a roundhouse kick. I'm becoming what my exes feared, a woman who knows how to end things, how to begin on her own terms. In the locker room, we pass arnica like secrets, share stories of the ways our bodies refuse to be temples, became fortresses, became shapeshifters, became our own. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reading. While you're here, congratulations. I think your new collection's hot off the press.
Yeah, thanks so much for mentioning that. Yes.
Pleasure. Best of luck with it. Okay, so next on our list, I see Fiona in the sidebar there. Might you come and read your work?
Hi, yes. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, thank you so much for having me here, and I've been really loving all these poems so far. I look forward to hearing the rest of them as well. My poem is called For Keeps, and it's about things, what we think will be permanent and what we maybe don't expect to be permanent. So I'll read it out now. For keeps. My love will last, like the plastic bags from Tesco floating now in the Turkish Ocean, long after the grocery run when once they held apples that will never be trees. Like the lacquered coffee table built to last, that outlasted your grandparents in the long run, and which you had to hire a skip for to send out of sight to landfill, despite the open house sale and the ads on Gumtree. Like the penny that got covered in gum, which you keep on the shelf because it seems wrong to throw away money, yet somehow you never get round to cleaning it, so it just sits there. Like that photo of us, which peels away from the fridge door every time you open it to get the milk, which eventually falls to the floor and slides underneath, where years later, the tenants who come after the tenants who come after us discover it when the fridge finally gets replaced, and you and I grin up at those strangers, grimy and faded, for a brief moment, before the photograph is discarded. Hearts rot, my love. My love does not. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure I can say I found your photograph under the fridge. Okay, so without further ado, I'd love to ask AWL, will you take the limelight?
Hey, can I be heard?
Yes.
So it's really, really lovely to be here, and to hear you all read. It's been beautiful so far. So I have to add a little caveat to this one before I read it, which is a little bit of a history in it I got wrong, which has been pointed out to me. The man's parents were actually supportive, and I feel very bad about it, but I think it works better in the poem that they weren't, so we're going to go with that. My girlfriend will kill me if I don't say the champagne was also real. There you go, darling. My girlfriend seduced me with the promise of a velvet Cheylong and a bottle by G.H. Mum. The chaise, dove grey, is real enough. It holds me, length and side and back, beneath high Edinburgh ceilings of her flat. It makes a haunted sort of bed, to sleep on valet fashion as my lovers rest in a crisp-sheeted king. This was a room for company once, and it looks down, fond, as though I, at some late party, drifted off and needed kissed awake. I'm not asleep. Not yet. I'm thinking about a box fan, about the way the chaise belonged to the first gay man in Scotland to die of AIDS. It came here through a frantic kind of disinheriting, the good things of his life divvied out to those who gave a damn, as if to say, you'll not get my books, my clothes, my Persian rug. You can take these 4 bare walls and claim that was your son. To choose the way the world remembers us is a lineage queerness breaks. My house is crammed with every tale my forebears told. I have been given so many things to save them from forgetting, even as I know the name upon my grave might not be my own. Am I the first in all my line? I cannot know. So it is. I hold this chaise as much family as my slow ticking clock, the inkwell, stolen soup tureen, or pictures of my great-grandmother riding a horse astride. My lovers sleep. I hear their gentle breath and lie guard-like across their rest, thinking on all the good champagne I have still to drink, the grey velvet I have yet to lie upon, and of the way I never thought I'd make it here. The way my husband, when he was still straight, when he still thought he was straight, before he was even old enough to fuck, even then, he thought his fate was HIV. Death haunts us in ways we cannot name. We deal with it 1,000 ways, but still it's there, steady as our own hearts beat. It will be me. It will be me. It will be me. It will not be me. I know it, on the brink of sleep. It is love that brought me here, love that passed a grey chaise longue from hand to hand and laid me gentle down upon it. Love, the light of it, like the bare glimmer underneath the door, as those who love you stay up drinking late, while you stay and take a little rest. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for reading. I'm going to keep that chaise longue in my head for quite some time, I think. Okay. Tom, I see you. So before we get to our next special mention, Liam, would you like to log in and read us your rope?
Yeah, and thanks for a lovely evening. It's really gorgeous, what I've heard so far. This is rope. Threads extend from the past to bind us and remind us. Physical features, traits, ways of looking, recurrences, from strands of evidence, snapshots, artifacts, and yarns told and retold, dimly remembered or half forgotten, we seek to reimagine. There was a rope, silver-coloured, soft as silk, like something strung between chrome stanchions in a cinema queue. We played with it as children, tied up bank robbers, made lassos, tugged and dragged it from one game to another. We lamented when it started to unravel and to fray, tried ineffectually to repair it. With each new child who played with it, the fray then got longer and the true rope shorter. Be careful, Mammy would say. Daddy made that rope. You had kept this masterpiece of your hands, proud no doubt of its tight-spun strands. I wonder, did you feel some inner dismay as you watched its yarns separate and splay? You told us of adventures, how you and your brother cycled across several counties to visit horse fairs, bearing coils of rope, searching out deals close to completion. All the better to be on hand, to hawk a lent to a buyer in need of a leash, to lead his purchase home. There's a photo of your father, who none of us knew, stretching his yarn along a makeshift rope walk at the side of his house, practicing this ancient trade he had married into. Mustachioed in the style of the time, he stands, looking straight into the camera. Is that a pipe in his mouth? Or a tear in the photo? I feel I could know him. He looks like you, or like various cousins, or like my son. The way he stands, the way he holds his hands. I imagine him walking this rope walk day after day, steadily twisting the strands, holding them taut with a wooden top, fashioning rope. He learned this craft from his father-in-law, taught it to his sons. Perhaps it was his fervent hope that they too would trade in rope. More likely, I think, as motor car and tractor replaced the horse in the promise of the great 20th century, he welcomed his craft's demise and foresaw a better future in mill and factory. Thread and yarn and rope extend, sometimes knotted, crossed or frayed, remind us of where we've been and how we're made. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And just consult my notes. I think the last voice I'd love to call on in this little section is Evelyn, if you're around. I'd love to hear about your pomegranate.
Hi.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. It's my first time doing anything like this. So this is my poem Pomegranate. I was 7 the first time I gutted a pomegranate, shell carcass clattering to the ground as I mourned the death of those I have gutted since, hardly blinking an eye as my knife slices into the stomach of the wounded animal, revealing late-night car journeys, phone calls seeping down my wrist, shades of Mama's old lipstick smeared on fingers and wine glasses, staining the white lino, exploring the cracks. Thank you.
So wonderful. Thank you so much for reading. Okay, so the time has come for, well, my special mention, if I may hog the limelight for a moment. And I always find this extraordinarily difficult. And I think because of the way we do it, I have often seen the names of the people who are involved before I've chosen. So I feel I have to avoid choosing anyone I know. So if you know me and I haven't chosen you, that's why. It's my get out of jail free card. But there's so many beautiful poems to choose from in this collection. I've chosen one not because it's wildly emotive, but there's something about it that haunts me. There's such character, and these people are so beautifully drawn, and I think it says something about class and about where we're from, where we're going, and why none of that really matters if you're not happy. And so I don't know if you will have recognized yourself there, but that's M.A. Henry's The Impenetrable Jamaican Shoes. And those souls have really stuck with me. And I'm so glad I see your name in the list there. I'd love it if you felt able to jump in and read your poem this evening. But that's my special mention anyway. If you're there, fancy unmuting. I'll give you a few seconds. But of course, there's no. Oh, there we are.
Hey, I'm here. Sorry.
No, wonderful. Thank you so much
Sorry, guys.
for being there.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to hear all those poems. This is obviously my first time being here. I was just in class, so it's a come over. But yes, I'd love to read my poem. Okay. Let me just pick it up. Okay. So this is called The Impenetrable Jamaican Shoes. Little backstory about it. Both of my parents are Jamaican, and my dad kind of had a story about how he used to sell shoes back in Jamaica, and it kind of just stuck with me. So I just wanted to write a little poem about it. They'll start. My mama comes home with shoes. She sets the box down on the table, right between my sister and I. This is for school, she says. We both nod, even though we know that they will also be for work, for play, and, after a good shine, for church too. When she leaves, my sister frowns. She hates these shoes, and so do I. We both open our boxes and stare at the ugly things. The ugly things stare right back at us. Dark black leather shoes with thick soles. Nothing special or fancy about them. At dinner, my sister tells Mama that she wants shoes like her friend Chantel, colorful, cute, and American. Mama says that these shoes are much better. Real Jamaican leather, she says. Hard to find. We try to wear them out. I kick stones. She tramples through mud. We trek from Mount Russer to Faith's Pen. Weeks pass, months pass, but those stubborn things, the dark black leather remains tough. Those thick soles wax thicker. We both sit dejected on the steps of our house. The shoes sit smugly on our feet. Chantel walks past wearing her cute, colorful American shoes. She stops only to give my sister a haughty tilt of her head and then heads away. Her steps are fast, her steps are proud. But as I watch her leave, I see it, the large hole in the sole of her shoes. And that's it.
Love it. Thank you so much for jumping in and reading. I know that was a bit of a surprise. Okay, so opening up our next batch, I thought I might hand the figurative mic to friend Jaspreet, if you're there. You've appeared in a couple of Renard anthologies. I'd love to hear your latest.
Yeah, thank you, Will. And congratulations to all the contributors and, of course, to Interwoven. So this poem is titled In Unison, and it's about a row of pea plants growing mesh together. So it's a longish one, so I'll just read the last two stanzas. And one startling day unfurls the blustery wind, its ferocious best reserved for young plants striving to thrive and bear fruit. None of the stakes, supports, and your homegrown scaffolding withstand the gale force. Before I can hammer in another stake and buttress the flailing row, one big thump, your verdant line is knocked down, flat on the ground. Each healthily entangled with the other, as if each member of the pea grove had thought through, if we go down, we drop down together, and you do. When the nasty storm lets up, I try and lift the fallen group one by one, and then in twos and threes. Nothing works. I realize I must hoist the entire pea batch in one go or none at all. It's as if you've all decided again, if we resurrect, we rise together, or not at all. And you do. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. I love those stubborn peas. Okay. Next on my list, I have Steve Denahan, but I've got a feeling he's not here this evening. Please jump in if I'm wrong. If not, then I'd love to go to Mark Rao. I think you're there. Have you found the mic?
Yeah. I'm sure. Can you see me?
Yes, absolutely. Far away. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So I'm joining from Shanghai. It's now midnight here, but I wrote this poem called Plum Rain, which I think Plum Rain. So basically, it's a particular season in Shanghai during the mid of June, in which you basically have like 3 to 4 weeks of nonstop raining or cloudy days. And I think use it as a symbolism to reflect kind of how conservative and kind of the particular culture of queer communities, the city, and especially in wider section of China. And it reads as this: the plum rains fall, Shanghai streets flood, oppressive heat breaks, and unholy gush. Small mercies. Mr. Chen's silk umbrella shelters two beneath him and a young scholar from Nanjing Road. They press close. Necessity, they breathe. Plums ripen unseen in courtyards, while doting wives arrange marriages. Grace withholds, yet blooms unbidden. May season ends. June always ends. Some fruits sweeten in secret shadows. Some love flowers only in rain's embrace. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for reading. And sorry it's so late. I'm very aware that people are around the world and we're chatting a bit this evening. So thank you for hanging around. If you do have to dash off, we are recording this evening, and drop me an email and I can send that to you.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. So next on our list is another name I recognize. If you're there, Sheena, might you log in and read about your garden?
Yes, I certainly will. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the video to come back on. Well, never mind. I'll start reading. So my poem is just about occupying a green space. I joined a community garden this summer. Just wanted to do something other than caring for my mum. So it was a great thing that I did. So I wrote about it. This is: recently I joined a community garden. And when rain pelts down, blessed are we with 4 polytunnels, each bragging its own show. Yet the ladies tell it all. Isla is a willow obelisk, she dervishes. I watch her heavy heart unload rot from months ago. Maybe last year's upset is coaxed with lemon balm. They French press their own here. Pesky weeds, someone has to. Shaz spots mother of all weeds, horsetail, lays one flat inside of hand, then jokes, deep rhizomes, I palm read you. She needed a hobby before hissing pushed her to bridge edge of mind. Today, it's growth day. She's as tall as the towering sunflowers bursting with promise. Cat is a garden mentor, a two-way lane. She hands out tips, how to make nitrogen by brewing tea with comfrey leaves for soil. She warns, it's a real little stinker. Our ladies insist bathing coriander seeds in water, then offering them to earth. Almost a cultural exchange. So much to give, like an olive branch. So much to take, like free vouchers. It's quiet in number 3. She likes to quietly get on. Finds the seed pipette protracted. By hand sow seed size of sosids. We watch eagled eye. Give her weeks, like the borage pushing boundaries. Soon her story, a lotus buried in murky grounds, will manifest. After all, she's a reliable stem. We are careful, so careful not to cut her. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reading. Such a pleasure to hear everyone's words in their own voice. Okay, I don't know if you're around, Sneha. You said that you're traveling. If you're able to read, I'd love to call on you. But if you're in between Wi-Fi, then...
Yeah, hi, Will. I'm still traveling, but glad to jump in.
Wonderful.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to read my poem in Sindhi. If the light is scarce, we will create apertures in the moat and Sarhad. 2 countries trace a line of control. The ocean does not obey. I hear Nani say, "Kya aayo?" on the landline phone, and no Masi will arrive soon. They discuss history over cha. The cinder burns without an exile, a hymn for winter. The bent stalks still agile in a gush of wind. My nanny says mourning cannot be taught. The epistemology of dukkha or migration patterns. An edible dawn enters our bed like a Gumthel beloved. When Nani speaks of refugee camps, she utters God in every sentence. She calls the rain Rahat. What screams at you in the night? Sarhad. The empty ghar, a white terrace from where she trickles like rain into open street markets. She is faithful to windows. What color is summer where you live? All the insects are out of curl spaces under the golden gaze of a lamp. There's a river, a girl, a paper, a Siahi initial. The Saman, the tribes are blurring into a holy night where you'll end the upwas. Nani, your heart grows resplendent. All the lives you carry into a new Desh, doorways of map into map. Thanks so much, everyone. Sorry for any background noise.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for reading. It was wonderful seeing yours on the page because it's so inventive with its use of space, but even somehow even better hearing you read it as you're walking. So thank you. Okay, without further ado, I think I noticed our final judge of the evening, Suman, logging in. If you're there, Suman, will you say a quick hello? As, I'd love you to introduce your special mention.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can indeed. Hello.
Hi. Yes, my special mention is the same sky, and I mean, it's very hard to choose what to give a special mention to because all of the poems are so well constructed. But this one particularly spoke to me because it resonates with how I think about things, that we are all under the same sky. We all have so much in common. We have more that unites us than divides us. And I just love the way that this was put in the poem about how different experiences can resonate with each other.
Beautifully said. Thank you very much, Suman. And lovely to see you again. I haven't seen you for a while. I'm not sure if Esriel is around this evening. If you are and you're under a different name, please make yourself known. We'd love to hear your poem read by yourself. For feeling you've not come, so we will follow up on that one. So thank you very much, Simon. And so without further ado, let's, I think, invite you to find that one in the book when it lands on your doorstep. And instead, hand the microphone over to Ian if you're now available. I think you were dashing back from work. So if you're there, we'd love to hear your Blackbird. Might be optimistic. If you're struggling to find the mute, it's at the bottom. Oh, there we are.
Hi everybody, from a dark and dreary Glasgow. Thanks to Will and the judges, it's a real encouragement to be included in this anthology. My poem is called Blackbird. It was inspired by a gig at a music festival in Glasgow, which very aptly was called Celtic Connections, giving the theme of interwoven and connectedness that we're sharing tonight. So, Blackbird. A round of applause for background noise, for those in black usually, and glad to be, like spiders scurry for the corners. Deckhands, stagehands in the wings, in parks with bin bags, taxis, bramble pickers, bread and bed makers, booksellers, soup ladlers, tarmen, catchers, hearse pages, friends who share their darkness and speak with ink. The engine tinkers, night broke storytellers, folks like Mr. Danny Brown, our lifeboat crews, those who help, essentially. They say the time we give, waiting on live musicians tuning up, is credited on our deathbeds. Orchestral or a lone fiddler, it's all one when all's to play for. This life, in the key of Blackbird, that should command a song's applause, upon morning and at evening, but will be praised only when praise goes silent. Blackbird, let me clap you now and ever, forever. Amen. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to have your poem in the anthology and great to hear you read it. Okay, so next on my list, can I invite JP Seabright? Would you be up for reading your work?
Hello, yes, I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Can indeed.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, thank you so much for including my poem. It's my first publication with Reynard Press, and it's a real honour to be in such a fantastic anthology alongside all of these amazing poems. So my poem is a very simple little poem that's essentially about sort of queerness and community. It's called Kaleidoscope. We move under cover of darkness, of duvet, of disguise, by default and by design. We move as one organism, an orgy of wanting and release, flickering with freedom and fantasy. We move with otherness, difference in our bones, our skin, quickening the fluidity within. We move under each other, lifting our limbs, our hearts, holding each other up to the light, where we each move in turn, in sequence and sequins, kaleidoscope of days burning into night.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reading, and proud of that kaleidoscope. And wonderful background, by the way, as well. Been appreciating the background game this evening.
Yes, if I wish.
Okay, lovely. Well, Well, I've spotted the next name on my list, Jess Skylson. If you're around, would love to hear your poem.
Thank you so much, Will. Thank you, everyone, and to the judges. I am honored to have my poem as a part of the collection. And it's been really lovely to hear the interweaving of all of these poems being read. So my poem called Lucky is based on a real experience I had in my ongoing remission from stage 4 cancer. Lucky. Each time someone says it, I just reply it was you, that you were my lucky charm, the real reason why those 6 months of life I had left have stretched into 2 years and counting. We hear it so much, you even start musing, maybe we should play the lotto, half joking, half serious, and I laugh. But one day, I come across a bee, his wings stuck, struggling, drowning in a puddle. I find a twig I think he can grasp, lift him out, watch him crawl into the grass on the side of the road. You're lucky, I tell him. Looking up, I see the sun is just starting to set, the trees around me darkening, beginning to disappear. The fading light catches one, and, for a moment, a single branch stands out, its ordinary green leaves struck gold. Thank you.
So beautiful. Thank you for reading. It's one I think of when I see the trees turning this time of year, I think. Okay, so next in this section, and we're getting towards the sort of announcements now, but next in this section, to tie things off, I'd love to invite back another friendly face that we know from these anthologies, Fedora Mensah. If you're there, I would love to hear you read your work.
Thank you very much, Will. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Okay, so this poem is called Thin Red Thread. Thin red thread loops over and over and over again to make your favorite hat, which you place lopsided on your head, like a tilted beret on a Frenchman, or adjusted as if to prevent that sun shining hot to your left. Miniature grey patches I'll sew and sew until I finish making that bag that Tahila will model like a girl on the front page of Vogue, and you'll take a photo and we'll laugh loud at. But now, those pictures where we once laughed so loud look only like a good show on the telly, muted by the breaking news that you have died, gone away, flown to the angels, whatever expression they used that day. So now I'll stand in a house where I can still see you, huddled on the sofa, dancing wide-eyed in the sitting room, your fingerprints sitting idle on used tea mugs, my fingers nimble from embroidery, as I piece together these photos you've left us with. The red colors for your hat, the blue for your skirts, a gray for the bag, and a green to match your skirts. Recovering memories of you and life's rich tapestry, drawing your smile wide with every stitch. There it sits now, thin red thread looped over and over and over again. The sun shines down on all you've left, and the hat no longer rests as it once did on your head. Thank you.
Glorious. Thank you so much for reading, and lovely to see you again. Okay, our time is 9, so I'd love to call on Judge Miriam to announce our runner-up first for this. I always feel a bit difficult when you talk about this being a competition, because of course I'm so proud of all of the poems that end up in this anthology, and it's a really, really strong shortlist. But because of the way we structure this, so that we can give at least some of the poets some money for their work, there does have to be a winner and a runner-up. Unfortunately, I've got a feeling both of our winner and runner-up might have logged out. I can't see them, so there might be a slight anticlimax there. But nonetheless, Miriam, if you could fire away and bring some joy, we might just bear in mind that we might have to relay this news afterwards. I think you're still on mute. Might have to wiggle your mouse and find it at the bottom of the screen. There.
I think I'm in now. Well, I've just enjoyed everything so far. You're all reading so beautifully and from all around the world. I just love it. So thank you for all your very moving and very, very interesting poems. But our runner-up, I'm delighted to announce, is The Map of Broken Names by Janita Razia. And I'm sorry if Janita's not here to read her poem for us, but I think that you will all find when you get your copy of the anthology that it's a very worthy winner. It's a very universal poem and a very specific poem. It's very much a poem right now of what we're going through politically and geopolitically around the world, with many conflicts and senses of polarization. And this is a poem that is also very specific and is very, very effective in exploring where we are now and expressing feelings and imagery that I think is really well worth reading. So I hope you get a chance to read the poem, and very well done to Janita Razia for The Map of Broken Names.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Miriam. Yeah, I don't think Janita's here. If I'm wrong, again, jump in. But if not, we might hand the microphone over to Tom to announce our winner. I think that might be your up, Tom, if that's okay.
Thank you, Will. And actually a big thank you to the other judges, but also particularly to Will, who puts in so much time and effort and energy and devotion to this, making it all work every year. So just like a huge round of applause for Will. It is a bit weird, and I often forget we have a winner because all these poems and all this tonight have been just utterly brilliant, all of you. I'm just overwhelmed a little bit. So thank you for sharing. But a winner we do have to have, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. The winner is Zayan Micah with We Took the Smoke, but We Raise a Child. It's a really beautiful poem. It's kind of sorrow interwoven with the smell and sound of sadza cooking. This like turbulence and change of a country and a region, and images of that washing in and out and back and forth, while the sadza cooking kind of roots it all down to a single kind of image. It's a really beautiful poem. So yeah, huge congratulations, and I hope you're here to read it, but if not, fantastic anyway. Hopefully you'll see this recording, who knows. And thank you, Will, and thank you everyone for coming. Just fantastic.
Thanks so much for announcing that, Tom. Yeah, I think we're not so graced with the company this evening. We did have a conversation about this. It's going to be quite late in South Africa, so that's probably our reason. But we do have a couple more poets here this evening who said that they'd like to read their work, and I haven't had time to get to you. So I'd love to open the floor back up and hear some of the more of the voices from these pages. In particular, there are two names that I've got left on my list I'd love to call on. So please, grab the mic if you'd like it. But I might ask Anne Westgarth, might you lead the charge? Because you said you might read.
Thank you very much, Will. And clearly the power of poetry is very much alive here. It's been a brilliant evening. I wrote this poem for a friend of mine, for Linda, who we've been friends for 40 years. And like her magnolia tree, I feel, our friendship is strong and beautiful and long lasting. Magnolia, for Linda. Yes, go on. Stop and stare. Take a gander at this springtime show-off. Be amazed at strong candelabra arms. Pick out pinky white bracts, tulipian in dusky light. Such gentle strength and style at the rise of the hill in an unassuming street. No mention in estate agent's guff. The tree out front was why you bought the house. You may not have known her ancient genus predates bees. A prehistoric survivor of ice ages and shifting tectonic plates, rebirthing through volcanic dust, resilient, robust, soft, yet tough. The grace of your tree is reinstated as winter fades. In May, lavish silk petals fall. You pick up the rake and fashion small piles of cast down jewels. A simple task made special by the goldfinch singing. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reading. I'm so pleased we had a bit of extra time at the end here. Okay, no one's jumping in, so let's call it a night. And I'll just say a huge thank you once again, particularly from me to the judges, because we received some 700, 800 entries this year. And without your dedication pouring over those poems, we wouldn't have this book, which I think is a really wonderful book. We're doing the last checks on proofs this week, and hopefully it's dashing off to print very shortly, and then we'll be able to send everyone their copy. So watch your doormat. And in the meantime, thank you so much for all of your hard work, your dedication, and your trust, because I know it's a big thing to trust your words to someone, to put them down onto paper, and we don't take that lightly. So thank you so much to everyone, and hope to see some of you back next year. On that note, good night and goodbye.